Frazier. Hello, this is Paul Frazier again, and I have my friend Amie Coplan here. We're going to talk about her last camp out in May, how that went. So, welcome, Amie.
Thank you, Paul. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. I
Are
didn't
you
get to make
feeling
it on the
better?
last camp. Sorry, what?
I say, are you feeling better?
Uh, Today I am.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't get to make it on the last camp out, so I'm not even really sure who all was there, but uh,
Well, right. We missed you.
yeah, I missed
It
you
was,
there.
there were a couple new people there from Cincinnati, real nice folks. Uh, and then, just the regular group. Um, Teresa and Sandy were able to make it, and that was wonderful. Teresa can't join us tonight. She's got family over, so she won't be able to join us. But which is too bad because she often is the one who hears things that most of us don't hear. Uh, they had their grandson with them, and so that was a lot of fun.
Oh,
Uh, the Hubbards were there with their daughter, and it was a lot of fun. It was a good camp out. It was long. I was the first time I was ready to come home. I was there for 10 days, but I have been there longer than that. So yeah, I was ready to come home. Now I'm ready to go back.
yeah, that's how it usually works.
Right, right. So I'm
So,
outside now. Is that okay?
what was that?
I say I'm outside. Is that
Oh,
okay?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We were having some technical difficulties. I don't know what happened because right before I sent you the invite, my headphones were working fine. Everything was working. I did a test, and then I don't know what happened. But when you come in, now nothing was working, and then we had to switch to. I'm using my computer microphone and computer speakers, so hopefully the sound will come out okay. We'll find out.
Right. That sounds good from here. So yeah, I think I told you that um it was pretty quiet where we were at this time. There wasn't a lot of activity. There was some. Can't always be sure what that activity is from, but um and so it got me to thinking why that would be in an area that's usually pretty active. And all we have is speculation,
Yeah.
really, theories. And so I come up with kind of a list, and I talked it over with a seasoned researcher, and he said, yeah, definitely all the above um, could have been possible. So I don't know if you want me to go through that list or not, but
Sure. Go ahead.
so what happened was is that there was very little activity as far as in camp. Now out of camp, occasionally we hear a tree knocks or something. There was a guy that's only been there a couple times with us. His name's Jay. At one point, we were the only two at the campsite overnight, and he was on the far end of the campground, and he yelled at me and said, "Come up here! I want you to hear this." And as I went up, as I was going up, I heard two distinct knocks, and that was it. They quit. And then he says, "Well, they've been going on for a while now, and now they're quit." And I laughed. I told him, "Well, that was just for you." And don't have any idea what it was. It was a rhythm. Said it was like a rhythmic sound that went from the right side of his camp to the left, so it seemed to move. Or there was more than one individual back there, or I'm not sure what it was. We had quite a number of woodpeckers throughout the time we were there, but it was definitely not a woodpecker. It actually sounded like two boards being hit together. And then at one point, I was talking to the woods. I was telling the woods that it was almost time for me to go home, and I was starting to pack up my stuff. I had one more night there. And as I come out of my van, I just heard distinct footsteps, pretty heavy steps, off in the brush. And so I asked Jay later, I said, "Were you back there walking around?" He said, "No," and I'd seen that he'd come from his campsite. So I don't know what that was. It took a couple steps, stopped, and then it continued on its way. But I have no idea what it was. I mean, it sounded like it was something on 2 feet, footsteps, heavy footsteps, but of course I can't be sure.
Yeah.
So I took some time and thought about possibly what was going on in that area, uh, why there was a decrease in activity. And it's very possible that there's been a lot of people in that area in the last couple months. It went from probably zero uh, population of people to probably over 100 in the last 2 months. So that could possibly have something to do with it. The other thing is that I think you sent me a link to one of the Flash of Beauty, and it was a lady, and she was talking, and she made a reference to the Amish. You remember that?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, she made a reference to the Amish. So I I had to laugh because I had said that same thing, not so much about uh, their entire lifestyles, but sort of how the juveniles in the Amish, the juvenile males, are let to, kind of explore the world as they become adolescents and uh, throughout their teenage years, I believe. So I wonder if the same thing about the Sasquatch, if they just kind of let their male Sasquatch their juveniles just kind of go out and wreak havoc, as kind of like young punks. And so I wondered if possibly maybe they don't have any young juveniles uh, at this time. Maybe they're in between. Maybe they have some little ones, but the juveniles have matured, and they're not playing their games or they're. I like to think about them playing counting coop, and I'm sure familiar with that term. Are you familiar with counting coop?
No, I don't know what you mean.
No.
No.
Well, counting coop is an ancient game that the Native Americans certainly played, and probably you remember David went in the Bible. David went in and cut uh, Saul's robe off with his sword. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the object of the game is to get as close to your enemy as possible without getting injured or killed. And so young braves would practice this counting coup to prove their courage. So I have heard it said before that it's possible that the Sasquatch practice this same game, and it's possible that maybe they've matured and they're not in that they don't have any juveniles. The other thing that's a possibility is that it was a full moon. The whole time it was a full moon. It seems like every time I go, it's a full moon, and so that's a possibility. We didn't have a lot of people camping with us. I think there was a total of maybe 11 at one time, but then it was sporadic because people would come and go, and so uh, that might have been the most we had at one time.
Well, did the
Uh,
conference fall during that week?
what is it?
Did the conference fall during that time or?
No, the conference was a couple weekends before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the conference was on May 4th, and this we went. I got there on May 19th. Went out, left on the 29th. So no, the conference had already gone. But again, there had been somebody in there probably every weekend, if not more, for the last 2 months. So
Not to
that,
mention how many people were running around during the conference all over the place.
right, right. Now I stayed in there during the conference. I didn't have a whole lot of traffic, but that doesn't mean they weren't on the back roads and
Yeah.
stuff like that. There's just thousands of people. So yeah, not a good time for any activity, I don't think. But you know, it just it just makes you wonder. What the other possibility I wondered about was that they travel in what this researcher's called. I said nomadic. He said no, not nomadic, but travel in circuits. Um, so maybe is it possible that they're not spending as much time in that place?
Well,
Um,
a lot of it might depend on what food sources are available right now too.
exactly. Yeah. So I don't know whether they travel different circuits annually or biannually or even triannually. But something was definitely different. There was definitely a different feel in the air. I don't know what it was. I had, you know, just I had set out a recorder. Uh, I think 3 or 4 nights I'd set out a recorder. We didn't use any cameras whatsoever. We didn't use uh, any thermals, night vision. Everybody agreed that they would not use that stuff until they got out of the campground. We use it. Some people may have set up game cams in other places, but there wasn't anything set up around us. Thank goodness. I mean, I was glad for that. I just wanted to try it. Didn't seem to make much difference. I will be honest, not for me anyway. But it was a good time. I mean, it's always a good time. Uh, got a little bit of hiking in, um, and a lot of relaxing, and uh, you know what it's like. You've been there, but we missed you. We missed you and your guitar.
Yeah, I miss being there.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's I yeah, when I'm not there for a couple weeks, I start going through withdrawal. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, like I said, it was pretty quiet. I mean, I don't know what other groups had experienced. I hadn't really talked to anybody outside of our group. Um, but um, even during the conference, there was little activity.
Well, I
Um,
heard you know who that Grizzly Chris is. You know who he is? Grizzly Chris.
Grizzly, yeah, I think so.
He has a podcast that he does. I think it's
Right,
called Outlaw Grizzly or something like that now, or
right.
Bigfoot Outlaw. I don't know. He changed the name of it, but anyway, I guess he was there some recently, back a couple weeks ago. I don't
Yeah,
know if it was the week of the conference or somewhere around there.
it was. Yeah, I think it was actually the weekend before the conference because I left and they came.
Because I
Yeah.
heard on his show he had that. You know who
Yes.
Old Bearston? They were talking like they had all kinds of activity
Mm.
there. I don't know when he was there. So I don't know.
Yeah, that was right after. That was right. I, we we packed up on Sunday, and I think they came on Sunday, or I can't remember the days exactly, but I stayed one night there with them. And again, I didn't have any activity. It's hard for me to, I will say this, and I don't know what's going on with this. You know, this gets into the, I don't want to say it's the woo, because um, I think when you're in those circumstances of being out in the woods and around the woods, your senses are heightened, whether you realize it or not. And I will say that just about every night that I spend there, about 4:30 in the morning, I wake up and I get this sense that there's a presence around my van. You know, you've seen my van, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't like sleeping in my van much anymore because I can't hear anything. But I will wake up and I will be, I won't, I won't, I'll look out the windows, but I won't move the curtains. I just kind of look out at the, between the curtains and the window, and I never see anything, but there's a presence, there. And I can't describe that. That's been happening for the last couple years. I wake up and I just go back to sleep. I mean, it doesn't really scare me, but um, I'm aware that there's something going on. Does that make sense?
So about your audio recorder?
Yeah, I put out my audio recorder, and I need to learn how to go through that because I have hours that, it takes me, it's going to take literally hours to listen to.
Well, one thing you can do is just put it on with headphones, and while you're doing stuff around the house, just have it playing. And if you
Right,
hear something, stop and go up, run over and rewind it, and mark the spot where it's at, and you know,
right. Well, I have done that a couple times, but I still have, and the funny story was, Eric and I put it out on the trail, and you hear us putting it down, saying what the date is, blah blah blah, and we're leaving now. And it was probably maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. And the next day we pick it up, and we hear this sound. It sounds like somebody is taking a stick and is whipping the air with it. If you understand what I mean, like this whipping
just
sound.
flinging it.
Yeah, just like really flinging it through the air. And it was just a few minutes after we left. So, we were all like, wow, what's that sound? Well, here I had forgotten that I had taken our little chihuahua with me camping. She did fantastic. But she had walked down there with us, and when we were walking out, she began to sneeze. And it was her sneezing.
Oh,
So you really have to analyze your audio.
yeah, yeah.
No, yeah. It was pretty funny. I had to go back and tell Eric later. I don't know if you saw that post. I said, Eric, it was Itzy sneezing, is what we heard.
Well, it's good that
Well,
you debunked it. That's
oh,
good.
absolutely. You have to. I
Yeah.
mean, if you can remember, what that was that sound. I don't know if I wish Teresa was here because not only does she hear things that a lot of us don't hear, because simply she stays up at night. She'll lay in her tent with her game ears on
Yeah.
till 5 o'clock in the morning. I mean, everybody else has been asleep for hours, and she's still up. But one of the things she heard, not this trip, but the trip before in April, was she heard this creaking sound. Have you heard this story?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Well, she kept hearing, and she needs to come on and tell the story herself, but she heard this creaking sound. You know, creak. and then it would creak, creak, creak. I can't make the sound. She can make the sound. And she said it went on several times. So she falls asleep. I get up in the morning, I'm fixing my coffee, and she hears the sound. I open the cooler up and she yells out, What was that? And I said, I opened my cooler. And that's when she told me she heard that go on. And I mean, it's like, several times she heard that sound during the night.
It's the
Nobody
same.
was up.
Hmm.
The same sound. Yep. Yep. The same sound. So it's, that's pretty cool that she, she does. She hears some pretty cool stuff, when nobody else does. So, um, I really enjoy our group. I think each of us have something to bring to the table. Um, you never feel any envy. You never feel any, egos come out. It seems like we all work together, and I really enjoy you all. I'm very thankful for you.
Well, we should work together. I mean, that's that's how we're going to get anything accomplished is
Yeah,
working together.
exactly.
Which I was going to
Well,
say, like with your van, I don't know if you did this or not, but uh, maybe you ought to run it like through a car wash right before you go and make sure it's totally cleaned off. Because the reason I'm saying that is because I don't remember which camp out it was, but it was when Carrie, she didn't set up a tent. She slept in her car
hmm
and she was up kind of the direction where my tent was. Well, I came out the one morning and I was sitting there talking to her by her car, and I looked over and there was handprints, like muddy handprints on her car.
yeah, I think I remember that. That
And
was in October.
I said, look at those handprints there. I said, were those there before? And she goes, I don't know. That's the thing. If you wash your car off right before the camp out, then if something shows up like that, oh, that wasn't there yesterday.
Well, I actually did do that before I left for this last camp out. Not because I was thinking of that, but because the van was extremely dirty. And on the back window were some, it could have possibly been fingerprints, but also I think pollen gets stuck to your vehicle. And, I may have touched the window, and then the pollen got stuck. There was some kind of handprint on the back window. It
Hmm.
wasn't exceptionally large, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was mine, and just I don't know if you've ever seen like pollen that gets stuck to your vehicle. Um, yeah, so uh, I don't know. I try to really um, take everything apart, and make sure that I'm not making a mistake, where things aren't what they seem to be. I think that that's important. And I think we all do. We're all like, sorry for the loud sound, the loud car. I'm sitting out on my front porch. Um, there's certainly been experiences I've had that I can't explain. Um, and those remain questionable to me. I think there's a very good chance that I've had some experiences that involved the Sasquatch. But then I know that there's been experiences where there was definitely other explanations for them. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, I I don't know. I don't know what's going on this year. It seems quiet, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I'm planning on we're going to be going out to Oklahoma in October
Oh, how fun! Wow.
we're going to be camping out there with some friends
Oh,
for
wow.
a week at it's called Sequoia State Park in Oklahoma. And then the following week, I'm planning on trying to hit a few spots on the way back. When I haven't made up my mind yet. I was thinking about going up where Randy Harrington had his encounter and stay a
Yeah.
couple nights there.
Was
Where
that
I'll be,
Oklahoma?
huh?
Was that Oklahoma?
Yeah, that was Chickasaw Park,
Okay.
Chickasaw National Recreation Area. I think is what it's called. And then I'll be like 5 hours from Boggy Creek.
Wow.
So I'm thinking about spending a couple nights there,
Yeah.
and then I want to maybe hit Land Between the Lakes on the way back too. Spend a couple nights.
Wow. Those are some good places.
I mean, I'm
Man.
driving out all that way. I might as well try to hit a couple on the way back.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. My goodness. Take lots of pictures.
yeah, I will.
Wow. I've never been to any of those places. I've been through Oklahoma, but never, of course, I didn't do any camping or anything there. But wow, that is fantastic.
Yeah,
You're,
I've been
uh,
to Oklahoma City. We went to Dallas when I was young, and then I think if I remember right, Oklahoma City's only like an hour and a half away or something like that. It's not very far. And then
when you're camping.
well, well, then we didn't. We went out. My dad was a pastor. We went out to some church thing, church related thing out there. But we did camp on the way there, and as I was kind of researching where Falk was and Boggy Creek and looking at all of that on the map, I didn't realize it till like yesterday when I was looking at. I don't know how old I was. I think I was probably around 9 or 10 when we went, but we camped in Texarkana at a campground, and that's only like 15 minutes from Boggy Creek.
Oh
But
my
I didn't know that
goodness.
when I was a kid. I wasn't thinking of anything like
Right.
that. So
Right. Do you remember if there was any kind of activity or?
the only thing I remember about that trip camping at that campground is I met this teenage boy. He was older than me, but I liked to throw the frisbee, and so did he. So we were throwing the frisbee. He was a Native American. His name was
Okay.
Pat, and we just hit it off. And he was like my friend while I was there. We did the frisbee and stuff, and I remember I asked him where if there was a pop machine around. He didn't know what I was talking about.
Really?
And, yeah, and I said, like Pepsi or
Right.
Coke.
Right.
Oh, you mean a soda machine?
Soda. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
didn't know what I meant when I said pop.
Mhm. Yep.
But that's all I remember about the trip. I don't remember anything about Bigfoot related. But that would have been around in the early '70s, is when,
Wow.
like, right around the time that movie came out. That's about the time that we camped there.
Wow. You're
So
probably in a gold mine. Didn't know it.
yeah,
That's
they
incredible.
may have been filming it while we were there. I don't know. I
That's
don't.
very
Wish I
possible.
could know exactly when it was we were there.
So you're going to Oklahoma first,
Yeah, we're
driving
gonna
through to Oklahoma and camping.
camp there for a week, and then after that week's up, I want to hit a couple spots on the way back. I just don't. I have to map it out which way it's going to work out best. But
Oh, that's really cool.
because where Randy was is north, and where Falk is south, so it's kind of out of the
Wow.
way to go both. And Land Between the Lakes is like in between. So I don't know. I have to really plan it out. I got plenty of time till October. So
Right. I think Mary Fabian has spent time in Oklahoma. Um,
I don't know. Yeah, I think she might have with Kumbo maybe.
yes, yes. Yep. I think that's exactly who it was.
See, Oklahoma, they had the I don't remember what they called it, but and I think that's where the Woodate Conservancy
Yes.
is, and they
Yep.
they
Area
were
X.
actually trying to shoot one. That was their actual intention. They were hoping to shoot one.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're still ongoing. They're in what they're called Area X. But I know that,
Yeah, Area
yeah, I
X.
cannot think of his name. It might be, it could be, maybe it's Matt Pruitt. I can't think of his name, but he was definitely out to shoot one, to kill one. And he has changed his, uh, kind of his mind, and he says now he's just shooting a camera.
Yeah.
Or, I
Well,
don't know.
if they ever shot one, which I don't know. I don't know if the guy shot it would ever be seen again. Myself. I don't,
Well, that was my opinion was that so you shoot one the minute you try to make it public or you try to the government's going to come in and take it
well,
and
I'm
you
just talking
won't
about.
see that body again.
I'm talking about them as a clan that you shoot the
Oh
one,
yes,
you go anywhere near the body, they're gonna tear you up. Uh, I just
yeah, I think that's I think it's a no-win situation. I really do. I don't see that. I myself think that the bodies have already been collected.
oh
Um,
yeah, I'm
I mean, that's
sure the
my
government
personal
has.
opinion.
Yeah,
What is it?
I'm sure the government has. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that that's the case. They may even have living specimens. God, I hope not. But uh, I just don't think that I respect the work that they do with the American Wood. I think it's called the American Wood Conservancy.
Yeah.
I respect the work they've done. They've made some milestones. I think they've collected a lot of data, but I don't think that killing one is the answer. I really don't.
Well, if they ever did, I think they would change the name from Wood Ape to something else. But I mean, I
So,
hope.
what do you think
Actually, I
that
hope they're
something
never
else would be?
successful.
What do you think that something else would be, Paul?
Well, it wouldn't be ape, I wouldn't think, but I
I
don't think they're an ape.
no, I don't either. I don't either. I mean, I lean more and more towards. I've come out and said this. I lean towards the Nephilim uh, opinion. I believe that there's some type of people. I don't know whether they're a tribe or what, but I definitely don't think that they're all animal. All ape.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I not that that means anything, but it's exciting, and I wait all winter, to sit around the campfire and talk, about Bigfoot, talk about Sasquatch, and yeah, I don't like I said, there's something amiss this year. I can't put my finger on it. So
Hmm.
we'll see how the next camp out goes.
Well, like I said, maybe there was a lot more hunters this year, and maybe more people
Could be, yeah.
coming in, and maybe that drove them away. I mean, if you look on the map, that area they can go either direction, north or south, a long ways, either direction with a lot of woods.
Right, right. I don't know. I heard, and I wish I could say I know for sure who said this, because um it was possibly one of the rangers or somebody from Salt Fork said recently that there are less people in the woods in the last 2 years than there ever have been before.
Really?
And that's what they told me. And I thought
I
that
mean,
was really
hunting wise or
interesting.
hunters?
Excuse me? Yeah,
Hunters?
hunters, yeah, hikers. Um, that it appears that there's less people now in the woods. And so you just have to wonder why that is. Are
Well, it's
people
probably
just too lazy?
because everything, the price, everything's gone up as people can't afford to get out as much.
Right? Can't afford the
That's
gas
really
to
been
even
my
get there.
problem. I can't afford the gas even right now
Right. Right.
because my
Oh, I know.
pension has remained the same for 5 years, and everything else has not remained the same. Everything
Right.
else skyrocketed in price.
Yeah. I think everybody's struggling that way.
That's why I went back to work so we could make that trip to Oklahoma.
What I'm sure it's going to be well worth it. You
Yeah,
know. Oh my goodness. That is so cool. That is, I can just hear Elizabeth now saying, yeah, I want to do that. So, yeah, I thank you for having me on the show.
well, I was glad to have you.
I don't have much to say, but I do a lot of thinking, but that's
Well,
just all it is.
did you get through your list of all the reasons?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. I lean heavily that it's because there was so many people been through there in just in that area. Um, but it it could have been a combination of things. I was interested in what this researcher said about the traveling circuits, uh, not nomadic. He said, because I've always thought maybe that they were nomadic.
Well,
They just
nomadic usually kind of implies that they don't live in one area. They just
right,
move to another area, live there, move to another area, and live there,
right,
and they're
right.
just constantly traveling. Where I think that they really just they know the food sources. I mean, I've heard lots of stories. I know you have too, where somebody's pear tree or their apple tree is totally cleaned out
Yep,
overnight.
had it happened to us. Yeah,
And I think they know where those are at. They know when they're ready, and they make their rounds. They might pass through like a week before. Oh, it's not quite ready yet. And they'll circle back and come through again the second time and clean it
yeah,
out. And I think
yeah.
they know where a lot of those things are at.
Oh, absolutely. I think they're well aware of what's medicinal, what's edible. Uh, yeah, I think they could really teach us a thing or two.
See,
But
I just learned recently about huckleberries. They're supposed to be like one of their favorite food sources, at least in the. That's what I think it's the Olympic Project guys were saying that they thought that the huckleberries. Well, it's also the bears love them too, but I didn't realize that huckleberries they're very similar to blueberries, but they're more of a wild plant, and they haven't been able to domesticate it like uh,
huh,
commercial gardening places have not been able to get it to grow successfully, and so
interesting,
and the
interesting.
other thing I found out recently is that there is like the geological survey that does like scans from satellite. Uh, there are some scans you can find that shows like berry patches. So
Really?
yeah, I would like to. I need to learn more about it so I can try to figure out like in that area where blackberries might be growing naturally or
Yeah.
patches.
Well, I know we had a big batch of blackberries on our in our backyard, and I didn't even know it was there.
Hmm.
I did some cleaning up around the backyard, and I'm like, well, goodness sake, there's some blackberries back here. And then I realized that there were quite a few blackberries back there. Now I'm sure the birds will get them, but I didn't know they were there. They've obviously been there for a while. But
So
the
I'd like to
huckleberries, what is
find
it?
where some of those are at in some remote areas there and set up one of those long term recorders that you can set out for like a month and go there before they're ripe and have it in a good hiding spot close by and just leave it sit come back a couple weeks later and check it.
Yeah. I believe that's how their nests that they found were made with huckleberry uh, branches. And so, yeah, there must be something about these huckleberries. I don't know that we have huckleberries here. Do you know if we have them
I
in
think we do,
Ohio?
but not like they do out west. But I think there is some huckleberries in Ohio. I'm not sure. I have to research it more, I guess. But
I think what I have, I think there's all kinds of gooseberries and, when you're out on the trails out there, you find different berries and try to investigate what they are. Um,
elderberries
elderberry, yeah. I mean, I
are good for
myself,
the immune system.
yeah, I take elderberry myself, but uh, there's just all kinds of things out there, and I bet there's things out there that we aren't even aware of, you know, that they are, you know, and also there's things I think that can only be eaten at a certain time. Otherwise, like the mayapple,
Yeah.
the mayapple can only be eaten in a certain time, or then it's poisonous. And the deer seem to know exactly when they can eat those mayapples.
It says black huckleberries are native to Ohio,
Oh, okay. Wow.
specifically the rocky bluffs of Jefferson County that overlook the Ohio River.
Wow. That's interesting.
Hmm.
Huh. Well, I thank you for having me on.
It's good to talk to you.
It's good to talk to you too, Paul.
And we'll have to try to get another time set up when Teresa can join.
Oh,
Since
yeah, definitely. You want to hear the stuff she's got to say.
well,
Definitely.
she also said she was going to check her audio. Maybe she found something she caught on audio
Right,
too.
right. Yeah, that's something I need to learn is how to work with this audio, how to be able to share it. I mean, I've gotten some good knocks on some of my recordings, and I just don't know what to do with it. So, yeah, I need some
Well, you need to
learning.
learn to use what's it called? Wait a minute, Audacity. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
free,
one of these days,
and you
I
can amplify it on there so you can hear it better, and then you can like edit it and do little snips of just a couple seconds before and a couple seconds after the knock.
can you share it
When
from
you can't
Audacity?
do it like that, I mean, it's hard to send like an audio file by email or something, or even in Messenger. A lot of times they're too big. The file's too big.
Right.
But if you edit it to where it's just a little snip, like maybe 3 seconds before the knock, 3 seconds after the knock, then it's usually small enough file you can do that. Or even if it's a larger file, you can still upload it. Usually, like on Facebook in your
Well,
group.
I may, I may get the courage up and try it, but for some reason, I'm just like so afraid to. I think I'm afraid I'm going to lose my audio files somehow. But they're not doing me any good just sitting where they are. So,
Yeah,
why not? You know.
yeah. All right. Well, I know you got to get up early, and so do I.
Yeah, good work in the morning.
Yeah, me
So,
too.
good talking to you, Paul.
Good talking to you.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. Good
Keep
seeing
in
you again.
touch. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.